Hey guys, welcome back to Spector Creative, the only channel that features Spector Creative. I'm Toy Guru Neitlich, your host. Okay, we got that out of the way. Having a Dengar problem. All right, what's a Dengar problem? So, everyone knows Dengar, right? One of the original bounty hunters from The Empire Strikes Back. I've mentioned a lot of times that when it comes to classic trilogy, 3 3/4, I'm all in. That's well, it's actually the only line that I'm all in. I have from 1995 Power of the Force 2 Chewbacca through, I guess these some of the latest figures from this year. I'm all in. The reason I've got a Dengar problem is because Hasbro has just announced a re-release of the very first vintage collection Dengar figure, which, where is he? I have him here. So, this figure is getting a re-release in 2025 at the fantastically new price of $20 for a basic figure. Believe it or not, that's not my Dengar problem. As much as I may not be happy about spending $20 on basic Star Wars figures going forward, my Dengar problem is this is a cost-reduced figure that I think is now more movie accurate. Let me explain. So, here's a quick side-by-side comparison. The version released the vintage collection 001 and 001-A. So what they've done is they've reduced the deco on his gloves, his head, and his sleeves, probably making it more cost efficient, but hilarious that it's at a much higher price point. All right, so my dilemma is we all make rules for our collections, and for me, I don't buy when a figure is just re-released and the only change is packaging. I don't rebuy it because everything from my whole collection is more or less loose. But looking at this Dengar and then looking at source material, I'm like, wow, it's weird. They've actually cost reduced this figure and removed deco, but I think he's now more movie accurate. All right, let's take a step back and look at kind of the history of Dengar action figures. We've only had four 3 3/4 Dengar figures. So we have our original one here, right, from 1980. Yay, Dengar. Then we had the Power of the Force 2, which this one was really unique because this is Dengar not from Empire. It's Dengar from Jedi. Dengar, Bosk, and Boba Fett are all in Jabba's palace. And the unique thing about Dengar in Jabba's palace is he doesn't have his backpack. And the Power of the Force 2 version is the Return of the Jedi version. And they've never redone that version again. So it's kind of neat. All right, then we got the kind of the mid. This was from the Saga Gold card collection, and I actually think this is the best Dengar. Even though the articulation is not as good as the vintage collection, he gets the job done, and yeah, I mean it's a really well done figure and good proportions. And there's his back. So this was actually the first Empire Dengar we had since the one from the original line from Kenner. So because the original Hasbro one was Jedi. And then we got this guy here, so the third one, which this was the Vintage Collection 001 figure, the first Vintage Collection character. One thing I thought that was really noticeable was the first time they gave him his holster. All of the previous figures were holsterless, even the original one. And it's actually very interesting. I think that looking at like the three modern Dengars, if you will, it really does show that this is kind of the evolution of the line. You had Power of the Force 2. You had kind of that mid-range, the Saga collection and through the prequels. And then you had the Vintage collection, which gives unlimited articulation. And most figures have kind of gone through this where you've got, especially the bounty hunters. It's interesting. They've all had kind of three versions made in the 30 years of the modern line. So getting back to this re-release of this version, this version just, well, the codpiece drives me crazy because it just pops right off and it doesn't stay on. I mean, it's good if he's just standing around, but man, if you're a kid playing with this figure, that thing is going to get lost. So the real issue is the fact that this Dengar here, they really went, kind of deep with the deco, almost too much. Kind of reminds me of the Sand Troopers they made about 20 years ago where there was just like so much dirt on it. I mean, that was like, it was kind of fun for another variation on a background Sand Trooper, but no Sand Trooper in the movie had that much dirt. And that's kind of what this Dengar is. Looking at the new one, I'm like, wow, he really doesn't have that much dirt on his gloves or on his his wraps around his head as this figure gives it, and which makes me feel like, wow, actually I kind of feel like this figure that's a packaging change only and a deco reduction, but it's weird because the deco reduction makes him more movie accurate. I don't think I've ever seen this before, where we've ever had a figure that got a re-release with less deco that now made it a better figure. Hence the Dengar dilemma. What do you guys think? Is the new version that's a lot more expensive, more movie accurate, or is it just cost reduced and this is a better representation? Or honestly, I kind of think this is a better representation. And he doesn't have that. You can see this Dengar doesn't have all of the, the deco on the gloves or on the head that the Vintage Collection one did, which is why this Gold Saga one is still kind of my favorite Dengar. But man, I think I may have to be in on the new one because I'm kind of feeling like it's more more accurate. But what a weird way to be more movie accurate, to actually remove deco and charge more. What do you guys think? Are you having a Dengar dilemma like I am? Let me know in the comments. And as always, the best way to show support for this channel is to share these videos with others. And I thank you for that. All right, I will see you in the next video.